Miles and points has become such a hot button topic in the travel world that I fear it's almost become jargon. It's not really important for the typical person with a job and PTO to be worrying about managing this much in travel credit cards. I think it makes people tune out and really lose out on some incredible benefits that they could be getting if they just knew the basics of miles and points and maybe got one card. You probably want to learn miles and points from someone who's been in your shoes. I am Kat, and alongside my husband Kyle, we are Kyle Caught a Cat, and about 3 months ago, we started full-time traveling. Before that, we had a normal life. We had a house and PTO and full-time job, probably lived a life a lot more similar to the average person. In that time, I got really good at using miles and points to the point that it was relevant and wise for me. And because of that, I feel really qualified to teach you guys just the basics, to break down some of the terms. Hopefully you can walk away with some information that actually excites you and you can start saving some money on flights without worrying about going into a bunch of credit card debt or applying for multiple credit cards. Like those people who have a credit card stack this thick and they're talking about like all of the free travel and all of the business class flights and things that they've managed to get through miles and points, that's great, but that's not really relevant to the average person who travels 1 to 5 times a year. Not to mention that much in travel credit cards takes an incredible amount of self-control and money management skills that I don't think the average person needs to have. I genuinely believe the average person does not need more than one travel credit card. And if you're someone who travels 4+ times a year, maybe considering getting a second. I'm gonna break down some of the jargon words you hear in the miles and points world, what they mean, how they're relevant to you, and then I'm gonna show you guys the 2 cards that we use because I genuinely think that they are the best cards available on the market. The first one, starter travel card. It's got great benefits. It's got great travel partners, which we will get into. The yearly fee of this card pays itself off in one trip. So it is the one that I tell every person who's new to the world of miles and points, start with this one. And then if you are someone who travels a good bit and wants to maybe get TSA pre-check, wants to get priority pass, that's gonna be the second card we talk about. To be totally clear with you guys, I will be sharing affiliate links for these cards, but please understand, I would be telling you this information even if it wasn't an affiliate link. The only reason I'm sharing my affiliate link is because if I'm gonna share with you the card, I might as well get a points bonus from it. I want you to think of me as like your travel big sister. You know when you went to school and your teacher taught you something and the concept kind of went over your head and it was overwhelming, and then you went home and you had your big sister or your dad help you with homework and then you understood it? That's kind of what I want this video to be, but for miles and points. Giving you the information you need, none of the info that you don't, and hopefully you can walk away feeling equipped to make a decision that works for you. So first off, miles and points is a game. Genuinely, I believe it is a game worth playing, but it's still a game. It's not this magic wand for free travel and free upgrades that I fear it often is portrayed as. There is an element of work to it, kind of like you're digging for gold. You're not gonna find it unless you dig, and that's kind of how miles and points works. And part of this video is going to be me teaching you the rules of the game so that you can decide if it's worth it. I have saved hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars by playing this game, but I also have spent hours on my computer with multiple tabs open, looking up multiple search engines, comparing the travel portals of my credit cards to Google Flights to the airlines directly. Through that research, you can find the gold, but you do need to dig for it. Let's demystify some of the terms you will hear in the travel credit card miles and points world. 1, points. I want you to think of it as a credit for travel. So it's almost like monopoly money in the world of travel. The exchange rate is unfortunately not consistent and its value will change depending on how you spend it. Say you have 100,000 points. If you only book travel within the Chase Travel portal, that's going to translate to $1,025 of free travel. However, if you go play that game and you start working with some of the transfer partners, you could double that into $2,050 worth of travel. So all that is to say, there's not a direct monetary value for points. They're kind of monopoly money that you can manipulate depending on where you send it into the travel world. 2, travel partners. It's exactly what it sounds like. So a travel partner is usually an airline, a hotel, something like that, that partners with a credit card company and says, you can use the points you get with this credit card as currency in our portals. The key to that is transferring the points, which is usually done via a form or a phone call. Super easy to do, and often you can get a lot more bang for your buck if you take advantage of travel partners. Let's say that there is one particular flight that you want to book from JFK to DFW, from New York to Dallas, Texas, and it costs, for ease of numbers, let's say 10,000 points on the Chase travel portal. You know that United Airlines is a travel partner with Chase. So you're like, well, let me go see what the price is on United. Pull it up. It's only 5,000 points through United. You could spend 10,000 points to book it through the Chase travel portal, or you could transfer only half that amount, 5,000 points to United. Now you've saved 5,000 points on your flight. You see how you can kind of hack the system and start to get some cheaper flights just by default of opening a travel credit card. So do you see what I mean now? Like, there are savings to be had. You just have to be willing to do your research and play the game. Both the cards I'm going to show you actually have different travel partners, which is actually really beneficial because now I have doubled the amount of companies that I can utilize points with. So you've heard me talk about the travel portal. The travel portal is essentially the platform that your credit card provides for you to book travel through. Generally, a credit card company wants you to book travel through their portal because they get a kickback if you do. Often, that is why you'll get a points bonus if you spend money in the travel portal. There are 2 main reasons that you might want to book a flight through the travel portal, independent of miles and points. So let's say we're getting on that same flight from JFK to Dallas. We don't want to use miles and points, we're just going to pay cash for it. So I go on to Google Flights, I find the flight, it's $100. If I book it through United for $100 and spend this card, I'm gonna make 2 times points. However, if I go into my travel portal and look up that same flight, and it happens to be the same price, $100 for that flight, I now am going to make 5 times points. Same exact booking for the same amount of money. The second reason you might want to use a travel portal is because of statement credit. Both the cards I'm going to talk you guys through later today offer a yearly statement credit, and it's basically free money. You go into the travel portal, you book your flight through there, boom, free money to apply to your bookings. Lastly, I think one of the biggest reasons that people should consider getting a travel credit card independent of miles and points is because of the protections it offers. Your travel credit card provides you with car insurance. Boom, you've saved $100 or $30 a day that you would have paid for rental car insurance that you don't need to pay because it comes with your card. So if you pay for that rental with one of these travel credit cards, you get rental insurance. Of travel insurance, baggage liability, it is really nice to travel not having to consider whether or not you're going to spend extra money on rental car insurance, baggage insurance, all those things. Regarding travel protections, I do want to say one thing about trip cancellation and interruption insurance. Explain their differences and what they would cover. Trip cancellation insurance covers you from the day that you booked your trip to the day of departure. And it's not obviously like all expenses. It specifically covers any non-refundable expenses you incurred during that time. Say I booked a flight on April 1st for a trip to Ireland, and I'm supposed to leave June 1st. In between the day I booked my flight and my day of departure, I booked 2 hotels, and one of them is non-refundable, and I realized, oh shoot, something happened, I have to cancel my trip. Trip cancellation insurance will cover that non-refundable hotel. It will not cover the refundable one because they'll say, no, like go get your refund. Trip interruption insurance specifically covers an interruption of the trip from the day of the interruption to your day of departure. I broke my leg and now I have 2 excursions on our trip that we cannot go on because of that trip interruption. They will help cover the expenses for those things that now I cannot participate in because of the interruption. Or maybe you have to go home in the middle of your trip and you're gonna lose out on some money. They'll help cover that up to the day of your planned departure. Okay, so now we've gotten through kind of the jargon. Let's go into the cards themselves. So the two cards I'm going to talk about today are the Chase Sapphire Preferred, the Capital One Venture X. Honestly, I think very few people need both. Before we get into each individual cards and comparing them, here's what we're going to talk about with each card. The card opening offer. I'm going to go over what that points bonus is, approximately what the redemption of that points bonus is, and kind of the rules around that. The second thing we're going to talk about is the annual fee. That is normally when people get sticker shock and kind of back off. But right after I give you that annual fee, we're gonna dive into the benefits that might offset that price entirely. Your statement credit just boop, offsets the price of that annual fee to begin with. And the second one is memberships. The price for those memberships might also offset the price of that annual fee if those memberships are worth it to you. Then we will move into travel protections. So that's gonna be things like car insurance, baggage delay insurance, things like that. Then we will move into travel partners, which, as we discussed before, are people that partner with that particular credit card, and you can spend your points that you earned with that credit card with the travel partner in the same exact way and maybe make them stretch a little further. Okay, so now let's get into the nitty-gritty of things, starting with the beginner card, the Chase Sapphire Preferred. The card opening offer for this is actually the best one we've seen in 8 years. It is 100,000 points if you spend $5,000 in the first 3 months of card opening. That translates to $1,250 worth of travel if you book it through the travel portal, but if you utilize the travel partners, you can stretch that to over $2,000 of free travel. It is not uncommon for people to hear $5,000 in the first 3 months and really get nervous, with good reason, of putting that much money on a credit card. What I tell people is you probably already spend $5,000 in a 3-month period without thinking too much about it. Your rent, your mortgage, your groceries, things like that. So if you can just put all of your bills on that card and trust yourself to pay it off at the end of every week, it's a really good way to basically just get free money. And once you hit that $5,000 spend, you can back off. And then afterwards, you can decide how you want to use that card in the long term, but you just want to hit that $5,000 spend in the first 3 months, get your bonus, and then you're good. Okay, moving into the annual fee. This card annual fee is $95, and you automatically get a statement credit every year for $50 to spend on hotels. So that $50 statement credit comes right off the top. Now your annual fee is essentially $45. The second thing that the Chase Sapphire offers, which I think is really cool, is a DoorDash membership. You get a membership that is worth $96 for a year, well, plus the $50 credit. Now you're in the positive. If you guys actually use this, you know that those delivery fees can stack up. So this is saving you money across the board. Get food delivered to your house. It's prime. Additionally, with that DoorDash membership, you get $10 credit every month towards non-restaurant purchases. So if you were sick and wanted a delivery of NyQuil, boom, you've got $10 to spend in your DoorDash account. Travel protections. As always, to get the travel protections, you have to pay for the trip with the card, but let's go over the travel protections with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. 1, you have baggage delay insurance. Essentially what that means is if the airline loses your baggage and you don't have it until maybe the second day of your trip, you are now insured for the necessary expenses you incurred as a result of not having your baggage. So say you needed to go buy a toothbrush and a change of clothes, those would be covered through your Chase Sapphire baggage delay protection. 2, you have primary rental car coverage. This is the biggest perk, in my opinion, that you get with either of these travel credit cards, because you guys know if you've rented a car, they add those fees up and they don't tell you about all the insurance and the things that they're gonna add. Before you know it, it's nearly doubled over what you anticipated paying. If you pay for that rental with one of these cards, you can say nope to all of the car insurance offered on your rental car because you are already covered and you are saving money. 3, trip delay reimbursement. This is primarily for weather. So if your flight is delayed because of something to do with the airline, maybe it's a mechanical issue with the plane, generally the airline is required to help reimburse you for that. But if it's something like weather, say there's a hurricane coming in, the airline is not required to reimburse you for that. And that is when trip delay reimbursement comes in super, super handy. If your flight is delayed or canceled, Chase Sapphire will reimburse you up to $500 per ticket purchase. That only goes towards your spouse or your family. So if you were traveling with a friend, they would not get that $500, but you would. The delay needs to either be a complete overnight delay or be up to 12 hours. And you will need to call within 60 days to initiate your claim. If this happens to you, start collecting those receipts. You're gonna want receipts of the airline documenting the delay, receipts for any expenses you incur for food, hotels, etc. The trip cancellation / interruption insurance with the Chase Sapphire is really, really good. With this card, you get up to $10,000 of expenses covered, up to $20,000 per trip. So if you had a family of 4, each person could get up to $10,000, but it would cap you at $20,000. Death, injury, or sickness of someone in the traveling party, an immediate family member, or your host at your destination, severe weather or a named storm warning, military orders, jury duty, fire, flood, or burglary of travelers' permanent residence or destination, organized strike that causes you to miss 20% or more of your trip. Example would be if you couldn't get on a train to your cruise port, so you missed the ship leaving and you had to fly to the first island. That would be a good example of that. And lastly, a terrorist incident within 30 days of departure within 25 miles of your home, the airport, or your destination. Events that would be ineligible for this would be travel after the 26th week of pregnancy, a disinclination to travel due to civil unrest, commission of an illegal act. If you get busted for hiring a hitman and you're in trouble with the law and now you can't take your trip, they're not going to cover you for that. Failure to obtain necessary travel paperwork. If you don't do the research and know what visas you need and now you can't leave because you don't have the right visas, that's not on your credit card, that's on you. War. So if a war breaks out, you will not be covered. Travel to a place known for its terrorism, you will also not be covered. Credit card companies kind of gonna go, you had to anticipate that, and they're not gonna cover you. Lastly, and the most fun, is the travel partners with this card. I think they have the best travel partners available. Just gonna list them off. The airlines are Aer Lingus, Air Canada, Air France, British Airways, Emirates, Iberia, JetBlue, Singapore, Southwest, United, and Virgin Atlantic. And the hotel partners are IHG1, Marriott, and Hyatt. So now moving on to the Capital One Venture X credit card. What makes this one shine is the perks that you get with it. This will make your life as a traveler better across the board. It will be more comfortable, you will save money, you will save time. So let's get into it. This one offers 75,000 miles if you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. That roughly translates to about $750 within the portal, but you can stretch that to be over $1,000 if you work with the transfer partners. The annual fee on this one is $395, but before you panic, let's go over the perks that offset that. The statement credit you get with this card is $300. And unlike the Chase Sapphire, that credit can go towards any travel booked within the portal. So that can be hotels, but it also can be flights, rental cars. Automatically, that's gonna knock that annual fee down to $95 if you use it. Additionally, you get 10,000 bonus points every year, roughly translates to about $100 in free travel. Again, you can use travel partners and maybe stretch that to $150, $180. Lounge access, a priority pass membership, and that is where this becomes a lifesaver. Most airports that you could fly into in the entire world will have a priority pass lounge. Priority pass membership will be $100 a year. If you consider the $300 statement credit you get just by owning this card every year, then it's down to $95. If you get the priority pass membership, that is a $100 value. You are now in the positive. And that's before the 10,000 bonus miles. Priority pass is a game changer. One, they're quiet. They're generally much more comfortable. You're out of the chaos of the airport. 2, they almost always have free food. You can save so much money, and a lot of times they come with free drinks. Having lounge access, huge, and literally the reason I got this card. 3rd, Capital One Venture X will also provide you with a credit up to $120 to go towards either TSA PreCheck or Global Entry. TSA PreCheck is basically express security in American airports. Global Entry is express customs once you come back into America. If you get Global Entry, you get TSA PreCheck by default. So if you're doing a decent amount of international travel and leaving the US, I would go ahead and get Global Entry. If not, TSA PreCheck might just be enough for you if all you're doing is domestic travel. You also supposedly can get Hertz president circle status generally means free upgrades, a little less drama just in the rental car side, and you might even get better prices. I've yet to be able to make that happen, so I can't speak to that personally, but supposedly that's a perk that you have. Cell phone protection. If you pay your phone bill with this card, the month following, you have insurance on your phone. So if it is stolen, if it is damaged, it would be covered. You can spend your points that you make with this card on Amazon. When I've gotten onto Amazon to purchase a backpack or something, and I put this card in, it gives me the option to either spend my money or to spend points. If it's a year that you're not doing a lot of travel, it's really nice to still be able to use the points that you have been given through Capital One. Lastly, and I think this is so cool, Capital One will do a price match on any trips you find within the travel portal. Say that I found a flight for $100 with United Airlines. I go onto the Capital One travel portal and it's $150. I can call them and say, hey, United's offering it for $100. Capital One will price match that. So now I'm paying the same amount that I would have had I booked with United directly, but I'm getting 5 times points because I'm booking it through the travel portal. Okay, so moving into the travel protection. You have baggage delay insurance. You also get primary rental car coverage. You can say no to the rental insurance at the desk. Travel delay reimbursement, travel cancellation and interruption insurance, but it is not nearly as good as the Chase Sapphire. Up to $2,000 per covered person as long as it is a spouse or immediate family member. If it's a friend, they are not covered. The only eligible event they have listed on their website is death, injury, or illness of a person traveling or an immediate family member. All of the other eligibility options that Chase had listed are not listed on Capital One. That doesn't mean you couldn't potentially petition for it, but it might be a little bit harder to get the benefits of that travel cancellation insurance if you needed it. There are a few ineligible events that were not listed for Chase Sapphire. Injury from school or pro sports. So if you play college football and you get injured, that would actually not be covered. Traveling against the advice of a physician. If you are on the waiting list for a surgery and your turn essentially comes up and you need to cancel your trip, that will also not be covered through Capital One. If you have a pre-existing condition that flares up or causes a problem that interrupts your trip, that will not be covered. And lastly, same as Chase Sapphire, war. They won't cover you if war breaks out. Okay, and lastly, we'll get into the travel partners. I will list them off. The airlines are Aeromexico, Air Canada, Air France, British Airways, Avianca, Emirates, Etihad, EVA Airways, Finnair, JetBlue, Qantas, Singapore Airlines, TAP Air Portugal, Turkish Airlines, Turkish Airlines, and Virgin. The hotels are Choice Hotels, Accor Live, I'm gonna go with Live, Accor, and Wyndham. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments. In short, I do believe that the Chase Sapphire is the best beginner card. It has really good perks. The annual fee is not bad. It basically cancels itself out with the benefits, and the protections are really unmatched. If you travel a good bit and you want to make that travel experience more comfortable, TSA, global entry, lounge access, Venture X is the way to go. Steeper annual fee, however, the benefits end up canceling the price out anyway, and then some. But these are the 2 cards I recommend. I will leave the link down below in our description. They are our affiliate links. I would be silly not to offer them. I hope you guys have a lovely day, and thanks for being here.